Alrighty ho! We are live. We are live on this beautiful Friday afternoon. God bless everybody in the name of Jesus, Yeshua the Messiah. I do pray everybody is super blessed as Bitcoin is on a crazy roller coaster through the range from low to the high to the low to the high to the low to the high to the low to the high? Question mark? Question mark? We're going to be getting into it today, guys. Plus, very interesting news stories to talk about today. Fed cuts the rates. We get a dump. We get a pump. We get a dump. What the heck is going on? As usual, guys, if we can get 1,000 likes within the first half hour, we will be giving away 1,000 USDT. In addition to that, guys, we got to shout out everybody in the chat. Major shout out to John Doe. Major shout out to Brother Nature Joe. Shout out to J-Boy Bullish. Shout out to JB17. Shout out to Baru. Shout out to John Doe again. And Crypto Coons holding it down with the wrench. Shout out to Duncan. Sorry about the time today, guys. Shout out to the Clip Coat. Shout to my shoe. John Cox says 72K incoming. Shout out to Luke. He says fake out before the breakout. Shout out to Philip Collin 151 and Mike 4848. Shout out to C Train. What's up, Casper Crew? Consistency, discipline, and the will to never quit. Shout out to DJ Sanders, who is super cool, for checking out the stream. Yeah, a whole bunch of Barts. Shout out to CBK Wahoo. Shout out to Rymo 5150. God bless you, man. All right. Well, guys, as can be seen here, the Bitcoin price is in Chop City, man. Absolutely in Chop City. You know, pretty much, we zoom out, and we have been in Chop City since, I'd say, Wednesday, December 3rd, right? We have literally been to the resistance and to the support multiple times since December 3rd last week. So it's been about a week and a half of that. And so the question is, guys, are we actually going to see a large move? Because we are expecting this weekly trigger wave confirming here to actually give us quite a significant move on Bitcoin. But there were a few scenarios we were looking at all throughout the week about how this big move could potentially happen. And if we take a look at the fear and greed index right now, let's give it a refresh to make sure we're still... Yeah, okay, so we are the same as yesterday. Fear and greed, we are in fear, not extreme fear. All right, last month we were in extreme fear. This month, just regular fear at about 29. A few interesting things in the news. First of all, guys, MicroStrategy. As we know, Michael Saylor, the potential bear market villain this time around. I don't know about villain, but the potential scapegoat of the potential bear market is in the news again. All right, basically, what's happening here, as we've been following, is MicroStrategy, one of the biggest investors in Bitcoin, might be kicked out of the NASDAQ 100 stock index when the index is updated soon. In about a month, all right? Strategy's business right now mostly revolves around buying and holding Bitcoin, not technology, software, like it was in the past. And if it is removed, well, we could see some people are at... There's a whole bunch of different estimations about how much outflow we could see, between $2 and $8 billion of forced outflows. And being in the NASDAQ 100 brings a lot of extra buying money from index funds, right? Strategy is getting money not from people who are specifically interested in Bitcoin or investing in MicroStrategy, but simply just people that are investing in the index, right? So if Strategy is no longer in the index, it's as if a lot of people are going to be selling stock. And of course, this could affect the Bitcoin price, right? Because negative sentiment for Strategy could also mean negative sentiment for Bitcoin. And we are heading into, as we know, a potential major downturn for the first half of 2026. Once again, this is based upon the 2-month bearish divergence that we have here, which is signaled the top every single time. If we go to the monthly time frame, we can also see that we are below 60 on Market Cipher B, which also has signaled a very significant top now for the past two markets. I mean, really more than that, right? We can take it all the way back to 2014. We have some pretty macro top signals here We've also been watching and thinking about the fact that MicroStrategy, or strategy now, just normal strategy, their average buy price of Bitcoin is not that low, right? Their average buy price for Bitcoin is around $75,000, which means like if Bitcoin dips below $75,000, like this is like a worst case nightmare scenario, Bitcoin dips below $75,000, they're removed from various indexes, and we're in a bear market period. They could be forced to sell Bitcoin, which in turn would cause the Bitcoin price to go down, which in turn would just facilitate the bearishness of the market, right? It's, you know, us traders, we know bearish divergences on the high time frames mean there's going to be some kind of bearish news happening soon. For some reason, that's just how the charts work. There's a link between the technicals and the fundamentals on the chart. A little bit more craziness in the news. This was an interesting article because I know a lot of people talk about quantum computing and its potential effects on the Bitcoin price. Quantum computing could bring Bitcoin chaos. Rushes on to stop Cryptogeddon. Wow, what a cool title that is. So, you know, this is something that a lot of people have had in the back of their minds, myself included. Is quantum computing going to render the cryptography of the SHA-256 algorithm, Bitcoin's algorithm, obsolete? All right. Is it going to be able to break the secret math that keeps Bitcoin safe? Well, according to this article right now, quantum computers are not strong enough to do that yet. But experts think it might be possible in the future, maybe in the next few years to a couple of decades. Now, I don't take articles like this too seriously, but it is interesting to see it surface in the midst of, well, what I would consider a fearful market, right? Now, something else that people have been talking about is this. The Fed has cut interest rates, but why is Bitcoin still in Chop City? Why has Bitcoin literally been trading in the range for a week and a half? I thought these Fed rates were supposed to be bullish, right? Looks like I can't keep reading this article without paying. But that's okay. This article didn't really say much. It basically just said the reason why Bitcoin isn't doing anything is because the Fed rate was already priced in. As we've been saying on this channel for quite some time, the rate cut has already been priced in. Plus, the Federal Reserve Jerome Powell did not come out with a clear plan for the future saying, yeah, we're super dovish and we're going to be cutting rates for like crazy in 2026. Instead, he was like, well, you know, we cut rates, but not everyone thought we should, and we don't know what we're going to do in the future. We're just going to have to play the game of wait and see. And so it's a big old nothing burger. We're still in this range here. And here's the deal. If we objectively look at this, it is a bear flag, right? It is a bear flag with a potential target of the back test of the last bull market all-time high, okay? Now, let's dive right into the Bitcoin chart here. This is the daily time frame. And as you can see, we are printing, unconfirmed, printing our first red dot above the zero line. I'm not going to count this one that we had on Friday, December 5th. I'm not going to count that one. We are printing our first red dot since Wednesday, October 25th. All right. This is significant for a few reasons. Reason number one is because if we want to get technical about this red dot, this is a hidden bearish divergence here. Okay. What we have is we have the top signal, which was the regular bearish divergence. As the price was getting higher, the momentum waves were getting lower. Then we see the move to the downside. Momentum dips below the zero line. We do not print a regular bullish divergence. All right, more on this later. But then we come back up above that zero line, and the wave we are printing right now is higher than this last trigger wave we printed here. Now, when the momentum wave is getting higher as the price is making a lower high, that is technically speaking called a hidden bearish divergence, and it leads to continuation in the trend, which in this case would be the trend to the downside. Does that mean I'm feeling ultra bearish? Well, there is a silver lining here. The silver lining is this, guys. When we look at the weekly time frame, we are 2 days and 7 hours away from printing a hidden bullish divergence, okay? A hidden bullish divergence is a continuation pattern in an uptrend. Now, it is my opinion that this uptrend is over. And the reason why is simply because we have broken down from the trend line. The trend line that goes all the way back to the bottom of the bear market in 2022. Sloop. We've broken down. However, this momentum wave here, we cannot deny the fact that whether we are in bullish or bearish market conditions, it matters not. Gives us at least a 40% move to the upside. At least. And so here's what I'm looking at here, guys. All right. The potential silver lining here is this. Even in the event that this hidden bullish divergence on the daily brings us back down to this area, all right, what this would look like on the weekly is the weekly would be bottoming out around this area here. All right, even if it doesn't happen this week, even if it happens next week or the following week, but the daily would be giving us now a regular bullish divergence, right? So we'd have a hidden bullish big bottom on the weekly, confluence with a regular bullish divergence on the daily, which, honestly, the last time we had that was back in April, when fear and greed was at an all-time fear. We had a bullish divergence on our daily, and we had a big green dot on the weekly, which led us to make a new all-time high. If this happens, and let's say we get our 45% move to the upside, well, that would be putting us, you know, if we make a new low, that would be putting us around $110,000. That would basically be putting us back around this historic support resistance flip. It was our resistance in December 24, resistance in January 25, resistance in May, resistance in June, support in September, and then finally we broke down and back tested. And what this would do, guys, also is it would allow us to get a nice retracement up into the Fibonacci golden pocket and make a lower high right here just to trap some bulls before we come down a little bit lower and continue in the downtrend. So this is kind of the silver lining here, because I do believe a few things have happened on the way down. First of all, absolutely, sellers got exhausted here. We saw massive amounts of money leaving the market, spot open interest decreasing like crazy, people selling spot Bitcoin, millions and quadrillions and quintillions, sextillions, septillions, octillions of liquidations, people out of the derivatives market. The October 10th wick flushed out so many people who were in altcoins. There's really no more sellers here, right? And so now we're forming this range, which if, again, we come down to the low, would it not look like a really nice accumulation pattern where we have, you know, our low, we make the lower low, we make the higher low, and then we get the breakout, right? It would actually look really healthy and nice for a retracement to the upside if we actually come down for that low. So this hidden bearish divergence on the daily could actually flip into a regular bullish divergence if we take ADK again, could give us our move to the upside around the beginning of February 2026, and then we can continue to the downside, where eventually I do feel the next major target for Bitcoin is going to be around this zone right here. I do feel that that is what is likely going to happen next. And again, the reason I say this is based on the 2-month and the 1-month and the weekly, all right? Just to flip the chart upside down, right? Let's take a look at the chart upside down. Let's go to the weekly. If we were to see this on the weekly, right? If this was a weekly chart and this was Bitcoin had been in a long downtrend, and we saw these massive bullish divergences forming here, extremely bullish divergences, and then we break out of the trend line, what would we all be waiting for? We would all be waiting for a back test of the support resistance flip right here to get long, to long a higher low, to then hit a higher high, right? If you came to the chart this morning and this was the 5-minute time frame, and this is what you saw in the 5-minute time frame, what long trade would you be planning for? You would say, oh, let's long the golden pocket. If we get a retracement, we've changed market structure. Let's long the higher low. We have bullish divergence. It's a bottom signal, right? That's what we would be looking for. We would say, look, momentum is getting higher. right? Money flow is getting higher. Looks like we want to continue in an uptrend, right? So this is my mentality for my Bitcoin bias. And I'm not saying it's guaranteed to happen. In fact, we were talking about some other instances that could happen yesterday. For example, we have to acknowledge the fact that right now we are trading within this local range with the highs, I'd say around, I like to say the 98. This support resistance slip right here is technically where you could consider the highs to be. Locally, though, it's pretty clear that this has been our resistance the whole time, right? So we're pretty much trading between 94K and then the lows being right down here at around $80,000. And so far, as we've been trading within this, we are respecting this trend line of higher lows, right? We're respecting this trend line of higher lows. And so the next, if this structure here, this ascending triangle pattern is going to break to the upside, the place that I would be interested in looking for a long trade internally here would be from this area between the Fibonacci golden pocket, the 786, and the trend line, right? So if we come down to here, this is a place to look for a long if we're going to go straight up. If we're not going to go straight up and we're going to take this low again, then we look for the bullish divergence on the daily, confluence with the hidden bullish divergence on the weekly. And again, once this green dot confirms on Market Cypher B, the weekly, then I'm going to be biased for the next few weeks of being up, right? Being up. Look at what happens when we confirm these green dots. I mean, even in the midst of a downtrend, right? We confirm the green dot. From that point, we do not make a lower low. It's pretty much up only. We confirm the green dot here. And for the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks, it's literally up only. And then, of course, every green dot we confirm in the bull market is obviously up only. And so, yeah, my bias will have to be when this green dot confirms up only. So the reason I'm saying all this is, don't fall, in my opinion, into the trap of getting very bearish at the bottom of a very large sideways range, right? Do not fall into the trap of getting bearish at the bottom of a very large year-long range when we have a signal on the weekly that is historically going to give us upward price action for the next 4 to 6 weeks, all right? For the next 4 to 6 weeks. And then after we get that move, then I'd say we could get bearish again, right? I would be looking to short a rise on Bitcoin. And if we're going to break out without taking the low, then that would place our 45% move to the upside. That would actually place it around $116,000, right? So we could see some serious upward action here. One more thing I do want to say is depending on how long it takes us to get that move to the upside, there's still room here, in my opinion, for a higher high to be made on Bitcoin, right? This is the weekly chart. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks from now is going to be like the, whoops, I went too fast there, the middle of January, right? If in the middle of January we haven't taken the low, we very well may come up to hit the trend line again, giving us a higher high, right? Giving us $130,000 Bitcoin, but actually it's a bearish back test of the bull market trend line, right? This would be a very serious bull trap in my opinion, because we're like, oop, here we are, we're back, we're so back, baby. But when we zoom out, we can see even though the price is higher than it was on October, when we made our all-time high, it's bearishly backtesting the bull market trend line in the context of 2-month bear divs, 1 month momentum dropping below the 60, and the weekly looking like it needs to cool off a bit more, right? This weekly time frame, in my opinion, looks like we need something like this, right? We need some pain, and then we need to reset and get a bullish divergence around the summer fall of 2026, which would be right around here, right? September 2026. And then we can continue on with the upside, all right? That's kind of my outlook for Bitcoin right now. I am short-term more bullish than bearish, looking for about a 40 to 45% move to the upside. But on the higher term, as we look into 2026, I am expecting the first few months of 2026 to be sideways and down. Sideways and down. Let's take a quick look at ETH here and see the developments that are happening on the Ethereum chart. Well, Ethereum, guys, did break market structure bullishly, and the money flow is looking nice on ETH, getting higher over time. Why does this look nice on ETH here? Well, the reason why is because we came and we bounced from the Fibonacci 786 from our last major low that we made in June to the current high on ETH, which I guess is the all-time high, and then we formed this disgusting looking pattern to the downside, begging to get squeezed. The bounce has been characterized by higher lows and higher highs on the daily. And so again, one of two things happening here on ETH. Either we respect the trend line, right? Either we respect this trend line and continue to make higher lows and higher highs, and this momentum wave gives us a nice trigger here with the continued money flow, and we break out and we squeeze up to $4,000, or we come down to the lows where we should be looking for a regular bullish divergence again on the daily time frame, right? Once again, when we look at ETH here, the weekly is giving us a nice bottom, and again, these weekly bottoms are nothing to take lightly. When they confirm, they give us powerful moves to the upside, whether we are in bull or bear territory. When you print a green dot on the weekly, in the heat of the bear market on ETH, we saw a 60% move to the upside. Literally at the bottom of the bear market in June, which I believe would have been the bottom for Bitcoin too if not had FTX gone down. 100% move to the upside. All right, we get one here in October, big move up. We get one here in November, big move up. We get one here, October 23, huge move up. We get one right here, September 24, massive move up. April 25, massive move up. All right, we can literally go back bear and bull market and see these are not to be taken lightly. And so therefore the probabilities are highest that we are coming to a bottom that before we get another big drop, we need to have some kind of relief to the upside here. And the targets on ETH for me are obviously, it's going to depend. I can't say for certain, but my first major target is going to be $4,000. Why 4,000? Well, because it would allow us to squeeze this disgusting looking pattern of lower highs with trail stop losses. And additionally, if we go back and look at this white line, which is $4,000, it's been our resistance since March 2024. We can even go back before that and see it was resistance in May 21. It was resistance in September 21. A giant fake out of the level with a bearish backtest in December 21. And so it just makes sense that if the high is in, if we're going to get a retracement, a bearish retracement and a bearish backtest, we would backtest 4,000. Of course, if we reclaim 4,000, I don't see why we can't hit 5,500, the next major Fibonacci extension target, squeezing all of these highs. And then, of course, if that happens, would I be bearish? Yeah. Why would I be bearish? Because we would be seeing the most insanely looking bearish divergences in the world on ETH, something like we have never seen before, honestly. In which case, I would expect ETH also to continue to trade probably within this range until the fall of 26, where I think we can finally see ETH break out. Now remember, the 4-year cycle, is it dead or is it alive? There are very real differences between this bull run and previous bull runs. All right, there are very real differences between this bull run and previous bull runs. The biggest difference is that we have not seen altcoins leave their bear market ranges, pretty much. I mean, ETH is still trading in the same range now that it was trading back in 2020 and 2021 and 2022. We even saw ETH come back down into the bear market range here. All right. That's a very different characteristic of this bull run than we've seen in previous bull runs. The second characteristic that's different is the all-time high for Bitcoin before the halving, and the bear market pullback, which happens every single bear market relief rally, was 30% less than usual. So there are some very big differences this cycle, which leads me to believe that you know, if we're going to see more institutional money come into crypto, well, why not just have ETH range for a little bit more before the big old break, right? Takes a little bit longer, but the fall of 26 is going to be right here. Like, I think this is a very plausible scenario, right? Of course, we have different bear market scenarios for Bitcoin as well, with targets being 65,000 as a very high target. And then, of course, you know, the mid-50s to mid-60s would be a bear market target for me if we're going to see institutional money keep Bitcoin from having a 70% pullback. If it's going to be the same 70% pullback as normal, we're probably going to see Bitcoin under 40K. But I don't think we're going to see ETH coming down below, like, these lows, right? If anything, I think we just trade the range, and eventually we're going to have a breakout. Because honestly, guys, ETH is a bullish asset, period. Like, you cannot tell me that ETH is bearish. You can't tell me that it was a bad idea to invest in ETH. I'm sorry. It's a good project. I'm bullish on ETH, no matter what. Okay, no matter what. No matter what. All right. Let's see who we got in the chat right now. Shout out to Jay Schlongen in the chat. Let's see who's in the house right now. Shout out to Lauren, whose name is now Lacolis. Interesting take. Shout out to the Adventures of Smokey and Bandits as past tense. Shout out to My Name Is Don't Care What My Name Is, Bro. Can't leave the crypto loop. You sold all your ETH, says Koi 23. Well, I have not sold any of my ETH. All right. Shout out to Cruise TV. But look, if you are out of ETH now, I hope you made some profit on it, because, you know, obviously if you bought ETH at 1400, you're still in some good profit. If you bought ETH, you know, back in October, November 2022, you're obviously in some good profit. I personally loaded up most of my ETH in November 22. So I basically held it from my entry to 4,000, basically back to my entry, up to almost 5,000. And I don't plan to sell it. And here's why. I bought ETH in November 2022 with the purpose of making money and selling it at 5,500 and 8,500. So if that takes longer than it needs to, I am fine with waiting longer than it needs to. But I personally am, I'm going to hodl. I'm going to hodl through and stick to my plan, even though it's taking longer than expected. I don't know how to get your name back, Lauren, because, is Big Bus 28 in the chat? Shout out to BB28. YouTube has changed everything with everyone's names. What are my current test levels? They range. They can range. I don't know what they are currently, but they can range between, honestly, between like 400 and 700. It depends on when I get them checked and how much sleep I've had and how much coffee I'm addicted to and how much stress I have. But if everything's on point, usually it's around 700. Do I think we're going back to 94K from here? Well, here's my honest take on the Bitcoin price from here. This is Chop City. This is Chop City. I am pretty neutral right now as to whether we go back up to 94K and above, because, you know, really the support resistance slip is coming in like 97.8. We're going to go back to the June 22nd low that we made there. I'm very neutral. This is Chop City. You gotta be, unless you're scalping it, you have to kind of remain pretty neutral here, because we do have some mixed signals. Why did I long here, bro? I did not long here. I longed yesterday before the pump. So I longed this yesterday. And the reason why I longed that is because of this. We had a local CDW with bullish divergence on the 1 hour, 24 and 12. And then we ended up getting a back test, a retest, and then we had that big move to the upside. That's why I took the long. I did not get stopped out of the long. I hit a take profit from yesterday's pump song. Pumped us up to the take profit, and then of course we ended up getting a rejection. This short trade is still the same short trade that I took live on the 9th. So that was 3 days ago during my live stream. If you guys were here, you saw me short this live on the stream. I gave all the reasons why. This trade did not get stopped out during FOMC, so I stayed in. And then I added a little bit to the trade when we got the next move up to this area. So basically, I'm just kind of in the range, waiting to see which way breaks. And whatever way breaks is the trade that's going to make money. Worst case scenario for me right now is going to be this. And then I'm out of all the trades, right? But if we pump straight up, I'm in the long from the bottom, set up, given in real time the Casper crew. If we dump, I'm in the short, taken in real time live 3 days ago. So that's why you got to join the Casper crew and make sure to subscribe to the channel. All right, JasonCasperTrading.com if you want to join the trading community where we literally gave the short from the exact top in real time on October 6th, 2025. All right, JasonCasperTrading.com. Also, guys, if you're in the free or paid Discord, we do our eggs, which are redeemable for cash prizes. If you look at the poll in the chat, all right, it says, today's egg code is lemongrass. Did you claim your eggs in the Discord so you can earn cash prizes? Most people said no. There's no reason not to claim the eggs. You don't have to pay to get eggs in the Discord. All right, these eggs are redeemable for prizes. So if you're in the Discord, free or paid, of course, paid members get more eggs. Come over here to quests and you redeem your eggs from live streams, all right, and different games that we play every single day to win eggs. In this case, you can claim it by typing in lemongrass. And I just got myself 5 eggs, boom. And then, of course, you can use those to win prizes, all right? Free VIP and cash and all that fun stuff, all right? In the prizes section. Every single week we do our giveaways. No reason not to do it. All right. Also, if you want to trade Bitcoin and altcoins, we are currently trading on KCEX, WEEX, BLOFIN, and ZoomX. All right. All right, Jay Shillington. We get it, bro. We get it, Jay Shillington. Just shilling everything, Jay. All right, let's see. Did I lower my normal position size because it's close to the end of the year? No, I've lowered my position size because, make sure to like the stream, I'm just not in the trading zone like I was back in the fall, guys. Like, I know myself as a trader. I'm just not in the trading zone. I mean, I literally was trading with millions of dollars, $1 million positions, all through, you know, pretty much all through September and October. You know, and I'm just not in that mentality right now to be trading with that kind of money. But I'm still trading with big-ish money. I mean, I consider my current trading position sizes as pretty normal for me, all right? Hundreds of thousands of dollars per trade. You know, I'm usually entering with between $150,000 to $300,000 per position. For me, that's pretty big money. I don't know. I might have been getting a little bit reckless there in the fall, but it worked out. It worked out for me, all right? Not chilling when you're shilling, baby. Am I holding Cardano? Yeah, I'm still holding Cardano. You have more than 300 eggs. It's the top 10 egg holders in the VIP, all right? Looks like a head and shoulder pattern on Bitcoin. Yeah, you're right. You know, zoomed out like this, it does look like a head and shoulder pattern. It really does look like that. It's not a range, it's a Bart Simpson zone. Yeah, you're right. It's a Bart Simpson zone. Seriously. Do I see a scalp trade here? There's a daily low to be swept. Let me check it out. You know, I haven't really been interested too much in scalping today, but yeah, look, if we come down and take the daily low, there could be a scalp trade to be had if we have some bullish divergence there, for sure. I mean, we have definitely seen these swing failure patterns at the low be the trade, right? It happened over here. It happened over here. So this is the trade we took yesterday simply because we had the low and we took it with the bull div. So yeah, could happen again. I would prefer to range a little bit more before that, right? Build up a little bit more stop losses under the low before the whoop, zoop, sloop. The old whoop, zoop, sloop, you know. Shout out to not quicker. Bought it at 900, nailed the bottom. Wish I would have sold 4K a few times on ETH. Dang, bro. That was a good buy. That was a good buy. Yeah. What do I do to get swole shoulders like this? Well, you know, I don't know. Honestly, don't know. I don't really work my shoulders. You know what I think it is? I'm very delt dominant. I think it's because when I was younger, and even to this day, I have a very, very difficult time getting a mind muscle connection on my chest. All right? And when I first started exercising, all I did was bicep curls and like bench press and push-ups, pretty much. That's all I knew how to do, right? And I have a feeling that when I was an adolescent young man, 15, 16, trying to get in shape, all the pressing I was doing, my chest didn't grow at all. I think I was just using my delts. And you know that bro science about like the nucleoli in the muscles or whatever? I think I just have nucleoli in my delts from not knowing how to activate my pec during a press, right? So now that I'm old, I don't have to work my delts, and they're always jacked. They're always jacked, which is cool. It's cool, but my chest is always lagging, you know? My chest is always lagging. I wish, you know, I really wish I could get the chest more, you know? But in my older age, I'm better at it. My chest has improved for sure. But, yeah, I don't do anything for the delts. I don't do lateral raises. I very rarely do overhead pressing. Maybe like a few months a year do I actually focus on OHP. It's just working my chest. Trying to work my chest. Grows the delts. All right? Yeah, the nucleoli. Alt season, remember I told you, says the Adventures of Smokey and the Bandit. Yeah, look, I think, honestly, that we could see some assets pump. Maybe not hit all-time highs. But some could hit all-time highs. Mercury is in retrograde. What's the repercussion on Fartcoin? Well, I don't know, but I think there's some kind of connection to the old school rectal mercury thermometers. You don't like Cardano? What are my thoughts on Cardano and Link? Do I hold AVAX? Do I like it? Yeah, I hold AVAX. I like it. I hold Cardano and Link. I like them. You know. I think they're good assets to hold. I have the same feeling about them as I do for ETH, right? Chainlink, Cardano. I do not see these as bearish assets, okay? Just objectively speaking with Cardano here, all right? For example, all right, objectively speaking, assuming we come down to 19 cents, there's still a 11-to-1 risk-reward ratio if we come to an all-time high here, right? So if we're going to continue chop citying and doing this here on Cardano, then I still think it's a good buy. I'm just going to be honest with you. I hold it. I'm not selling it. Chainlink, objectively speaking here, we've got a 5-to-1 risk-reward. If we hit all-time highs and we don't take the low, if we take the lows, it's still a 3-to-1 risk-reward. I mean, and these are not bearish assets. I'm not bearish on Chainlink. I'm not bearish on Cardano. I'm not bearish on AVAX in the long term. You know, it's pretty crazy to see that we still have opportunities to buy these at low prices. And eventually they're going to have their day. All right, eventually they're going to have their day. So I hold, and I am going to sell later. Try cable chest flies with the ankle straps women used to train glutes. Sounds crazy, Alpha Vision. I've grown my chest a lot through learning how to not arch my back. I know, like, what's weird is you learn how to bench press. They say shoulder blades down and back and arch your back, chest up, chest up. For me, chest up literally puts all the tension on my delt. So I do not arch, I like anti-arch my back. And that puts all the pressure on my chest. And then when I come down, I feel the pec stretch. So that's what changed for me with actually learning to build my chest in the last few years, is flat back, no arch. Incline press, no arch at all. 30-degree incline, no arch. That's grown my chest a lot. Obviously, I still have a lot of room for improvement. Am I long or short? Yes. Yes, I am long and short, okay? I'm long from the trade given in the Casper Crew VIP Discord yesterday. I'm short from the trade that I took live on Tuesday. I'm short from the exact top from the setup given in the Casper Crew VIP Discord. And I'm also in a long from... Whoa. Ooh, that was a close one. I thought my VPN was about to glitch out here. Is it going to log me out? I'm also long from this CDW, the trade setup also given in the Casper Crew VIP Discord. Not that one. This one here. This one right here. So those are the trades that I am currently in. I'm long and short. It's called being in a schlong trade. And if you don't know about schlonging, then I highly recommend you check out the Jason Casper YouTube channel. Go to playlists, go to the free trading course, and watch the episode of how to manage open trades. All right? Managing open trades. Part 16 out of 18. This will teach you everything you need to know about how I approach my trades, why I hold longs and shorts at the same time, how I set up everything, my take profits, my stop losses, and yeah, it's a free trading course, 18 series for free. You're a fool if you don't check it out. All right? You're a fool if you don't check it out. Your left chest is smaller than your right. The way I held the dumbbell made it happen. Nice. You got some good old bullish divergences. Oh wait, some hidden bullish divergences. You got some hidden bullish divergences on the chest. It happens. Shout out to Crypto Coons. What do I recommend for lower half? You're 76 inches wide on top and my waist is 22. I don't know, man, but if you have a waist that thin, that sounds like some pretty good proportions. You know, that sounds like some good proportions. I don't know. I can't train my legs. I mean, I train arms and chest only in the gym. What do I know about leg training? I have some pretty small legs, like compared to my upper body as well. So I'm not the guy to talk to about that. You can't develop shoulders. Yeah, everyone has the biggest problem that you'll notice if you're like a serious weightlifter and you've been lifting weights for years, is that when you start out, you gravitate toward the exercises you like because you're good at them. And so you develop muscles disproportionately. And so then if you develop really strong, prominent delts, for example, whenever you do any kind of pressing, your delts are going to take over, right? And what's already strong gets stronger, and what's already weak doesn't. And so the challenge becomes identifying where your weak spots are and then finding a way to isolate those muscles so that you can grow them. And then when you go back to the compound lifting, like the incline bench press, now you can feel your chest on it because you've learned how to isolate your chest and you've gotten it to grow and you've gotten it to be strong, right? It's tough. Like it took me a really long time to feel my glutes in a squat. A really long time. Until I started actually focusing on hip thrusts and like reverse lunges and glute bridges, and I grew my glutes. Then now when I squat, I get glute DOMs. When before, I would squat and never get glute DOMs, right? Just be all on my quads. You know, you got it's a weird thing. I know I'm not making any sense, guys. You do legs 2 times a week for 30 years. That's what's up, you know. Elbows in on incline bench. I've found elbows out has helped me isolate my chest more. I know that's counterintuitive. A lot of people say elbows in. Like I always read and heard and watched on YouTube, elbows in, arch the back. And that's how you're going to isolate, or that's how you're going to put pressure on the chest. For me, it's the opposite. Flat back, elbows out, and that stretches my pec. Like I literally feel the pec stretch. So, of course, like I'm a weird shaped person. So, you know, I'm 6'3". So I don't have. I have very, very long arms. My wingspan is like 6'5". So like my wingspan is more than I am tall, and I'm 6'3". So I got these insanely long arms. I'm like a gorilla, you know, walking around with my dang knuckles dragging on the floor, you know. But incline chest and pullovers. I love pullovers, honestly. The upper body squat. The upper body squat. Am I a bird? Yeah, I might be. I might be. I might be a bird. Yeah. How old am I? I'm 35. Alpha Vision says, isn't it that you're normal since your shoulders lean forward, same like me? Do you really focus on put them back when you start the bench? Yeah, nowadays when I bench, I don't focus on shoulders back. Yeah, I'm a Neanderthal. Rimo 5150 for sure. What do I think about SEI? You know, I don't hold SEI. Shout out to my man S1NS94. He says, I used to compete in men's physique, won overalls nationally. Now I'm just a tech nerd with big delts and autism because my mom ate too many Tylenol. I like that. That reminds me of the what's you guys know that YouTube channel that takes like Donald Trump and makes raps with it? Yeah, the Remix Bros. The Remix Bros. What was the one about autism? Yeah, this was a good one. This was a good one right here.
Today we're delighted to be joined by America's top medical and public health professionals as we announce historic steps to confront the crisis of autism. I want to say it like it is. Don't take Tylenol. Don't take it. If you're pregnant, don't take Tylenol. Don't do it. Don't take Tylenol. Don't take it. And don't give Tylenol to your child. Don't take Tylenol. Don't take it. Don't have your baby take Tylenol. Just don't give it. Don't take Tylenol. Don't take it. Nothing bad can happen. It can only good happen. Acetaminophen.
I love that part. Acetaminophen. That's my favorite part of the whole song with the snare drum. Acetaminophen.
Don't do it. There's no downside in not taking it. Don't take Tylenol. It doesn't.
Anyway, I love you guys. God bless you guys. I have to head out, man. I love you all. God bless you in Yeshua's name, in Jesus' name. Lord willing, I'll see you guys next week. Hope everyone has a great weekend. Peace.